Hey, we're live. Hello. It's Wellbeing Wednesday. Every Wednesday is Wellbeing Wednesday, right? Actually, every day should be for well-being. We should all make time for our own self-care. I know it's kind of so easy to say, and we do our best to look after others, but we do need to look after ourselves in order to look after others well too. So I'm really excited about sharing this fold. It's a traditional fold. I just think it's so gorgeous. I don't know why this little bird gave me such hope. It does just about balance there. It just made me feel very hopeful, and I'll be sharing some of the sentiments behind it and a book that really touched me. And this little bird actually really inspired me to get creative myself. I have, in the last month or so, I found maybe around 25 different new origami designs. Some of them may have been found by others, but they're my own findings. And that's been a real joy. And somehow the sentiments behind this little bird, hello, Stephen, hello, honey, fantastic, just really helped me somehow to feel the generosity of origami, which for me is at the heart of it. So I'm going to be sharing that and hopefully inspiring you, feeling part of a origami family across the world, so that people have passed it on because it's brought them joy and so they want to bring joy to others. Dr. McFall, fantastic to have you with us. Yes. So I will be sharing this little bird, little book in a moment, something I'm going to read to you in a second. I usually wait a few minutes because it takes people a little while to arrive, like any event. You just let people come along. I just chat for a little bit. So we're going to make this lovely bird, and it actually requires quite close observation, which I really like about it, actually, so that hopefully it will then balance and stand up with its tail up in the air. It depends. I will show you from A4 paper, but if you have origami paper, then you can have the little different colours. I sent one of these to my parents. They thought it looked a bit like a little budgie, which I thought was quite sweet. When I was a little child, we had a little budgie, and apparently crawl after me as a little baby, which is rather cute. So I love a bird, and the bird inspired me to then make. I called it a plumage star, which is inspired by the modular star, which I did a little while back, which is a little bit of a mystery where it came from, but again has been much loved and therefore passed on. So it's a little bit of a fusion. So this will be next week between the bird and the star, and I've just had such an explosion of creativity. I have to say, most of all this time of year, I suppose for quite a little while, I've just been going up to trees and staring at buds, touching them, just loving those little layers. Yes, and finding such hope in the feeling of buds. And I kind of thought they are little pieces of modular. They're like little pieces of modular origami. I felt as if I hadn't really seen flowers that are made and buds that are made in that kind of building up of layers. So I sort of had an idea, and amazed. I started with a little bud and then building on petals, and I found quite kind of organic way of working. And I can't wait to share this. It sounds like it's hopefully something a little bit new, but most of all, it's just brought me joy thinking of nature. Look at this lovely structure. Yes. The inside of it rather intriguing too. So next week will be the plumage star, but the next 2 weeks after that will be learning how to make this gorgeous little bud, and you can choose your own symmetry, and it has a whole different feel. And then the following week, how to start building on petals. So this has like a couple of layers, or it's building on a symmetry of 3, which is a different one. I was asking my kind of botanical father, he's very good on plants, what kind of flower this is. I mean, the instant sort of familiarity may be lilies, but there are obviously traditional lilies, and it's somehow a bit different from that. I came up with last night, which I just felt was perfect, cactus flowers. And actually, I don't know if you've got any cactuses, but they're just beginning to come out now, and I've just been staring at them. They are so like this. They have a very wide base to their flowers and very sort of discreet, and they've a spikiness, a tropicalness. So yeah, I can't wait to share these. I hope you'll enjoy them, and there's an awful lot you can do with this kind of building of structures. Again, all inspired by nature, little inside to them as well. So I've been kind of understanding basic principles, I suppose, and then just playing and seeing what happens. So, but we'll start with the bird. Right, I'm going to read a little bit from this. So this was a book that was recommended to me by a very dear, yeah, artichokes, exactly. No, my dad seemed to think it didn't fit that because of the type of flower it is. So I felt like, but I agree that that's what I was thinking a little bit too. They are a bit artichokey. So this book was recommended to me by a very dear friend and a colleague, Zule, who is amazing. She has been inventing lots of her own, a very big heart. She's a lovely person. And she recommended this book called Densho Origami. It's from Tokyo originally, so it's from Japan. And so here's the little bird which we'll make, which is in there. But the sentiments behind it I just found so touching, and for me just feels so right. So I learned from a patient who's actually from Hong Kong, so not from Japan. But that I think that feeling of a kind of a gift culture of sharing, of community. And here's what I read, which just touched my heart. Origami is a beloved way to communicate in Japan, a way for children, parents, and grandparents to spend time together over cheerful conversation. To me, that's what it's about, that connection across generations. The cheerful conversation is a really important aspect. That's what I try to bring on the sessions. Children give it to each other as a mark of friendship. It really is, it's that gift of friendship. Origami can be a heartwarming present for a sick friend in hospital, encouraging them to get well soon. And in Japan and Korea too, often the folding and making a little gift is often done to wish somebody well, to wish them better. So very appropriate. Many origami shapes have been handed down through generations, and there are certain figures that have become stylized, becoming simple, minimal shapes that can be easily folded. These are known as densho origami. Densho meaning heirloom, a reflection of Japan's cultural traditions. Modern Japan has westernized, but densho origami has spread all over the world, binding people together. That's what we're going to be doing. So this little bird, I have to say, I don't normally happily follow instructions, but I really like these. I think they're so pretty. So this is the little bird that we'll make, and I do actually have to consult it quite carefully. Just the angles are quite particular so that your bird can hopefully sit. And it's quite interesting because it's not the simplest, but this has been handed through generations. So I hope that you will enjoy making a bird. We'll make one. I'm going to show you how to make one from 15 centimeters piece. So it's basically half an A4. And you make a little bird, which feels just the right size, I think, for a little bird. It really feels like a real bird. I can imagine, Honey, that you may end up drawing or painting on this and making it a little lovely bird. I don't know whether our friend in India, whether he will join us. Just absolutely heartbreaking in India. I don't know about you, but part of my heart feels broken seeing just such an awful situation. I had almost a year as a child in India. Absolutely loved it. Inspired me so much, particularly art-wise. Full of people, and so very hard to imagine that distance or poverty, meaning that not many people would be able to afford to be isolated from others. Anyway, let's hope. We're thinking of you. Piece of paper. Here we go. Hello, Elizabeth. No, you've arrived. Perfect timing. I always assume it takes people a few minutes to arrive. So we're going to make a lovely little sweet bird. So take your A4 paper and we're just going to fold it in half. Nice and neat. Take your time. Slow yourself down. That way it's really relaxing. Often people have this hurry and rush to get something done, but actually, what's the point? Let's enjoy the process, go slowly. Excellent. So, folded it in half and opening it up, little neck there, and nice and close to the edge. I've also been really enjoying some of the flowers I've been doing, really enjoying these torn surfaces because some natural fibres come out as well. So half A4 piece of paper there, and we're going to make a square. So taking a corner and lining up. Many of you are very familiar with this. So just take your time to get it right. It's part of the joy, just getting it just so. Here you go. And we'll get rid of the rectangle. So we have a square underneath. Yeah, so I've got so many things to share with you, things I've been finding and making, and goodness, keep us going for the next half a year. I might slightly rest up, I don't know. But the buds I've been particularly enjoying because of this reference to nature, really. Hand close to the edge, tear off that little rectangle. And often starting with the traditional, and then experimenting from there. I have to say, as a biologist, most of all, I'm inspired by viruses and thinking about the coronavirus, or viruses that they can mutate, sadly, but that's also evolution as well. And evolution is really generating mutations which produce new folds. It's origami. So I've been taking existing structures and just experimenting, adding new folds. Let's see what happens. And I don't really know. And that's pretty exciting. So hopefully you've got a square with a diagonal line. I will also chatter away because, as conveyed in the book, Happy Conversation Together is what it's about. Outside line, and we're going to bring it to that middle line. So I'm taking the outside line, bringing it to the middle. It's lovely to think that this would have been passed on through families and friends, across generations. Lovely. And then the outside one into the middle. Yes, I was exactly thinking that, honey. You read my mind. I was thinking somebody's missing, very much so, because Eric's the most chatty of all. I hope he's okay. All fingers crossed. I'm sure he is. We're folding and thinking of you, Eric. So hopefully like that. Yes, somehow he manages to fold and type, which I never got to say could do that. Right, so have you managed that? So it's the square, and we took the outside to that diagonal line. It's amazing how much by making a square, each time that diagonal is useful in some way. Oh, Penny. Oh, fingers crossed. Oh, I hope Eric's okay. Making a bird, thinking of you, Eric. Wishing you well. Yeah. Maybe out having fun? I hope so. You never know. I certainly hope so. Right. So we've made it looks like a kite, and we'll take this top flap and fold it back. Yeah, Eric's been here every session for the last year. I don't know at what point he joined us, but here every session. He's amazing. Well, we've got a little family, aren't we, on here online? So we do notice when someone's not there. Right. So exactly, I hope so too, Stephen. So that flap, folding it back. Happy, everyone? Great. So I do go hopefully fairly slowly. The idea is to relax, so going slowly is much nicer. Great. So as you've got it here, but I would recommend being on a solid surface. We'll take the corner and fold it down along that midway line. Like so. There we go. Well, this little bird makes me feel hopeful, so let's all feel hopeful. That corner and fold it down. Oh, so it must be an origami friend, Penny, for you to be in touch already. Yeah. Stephen, lovely community of people. There we go. So it should look like this. It's beginning to feel a little bit bird-like, isn't it? Right. So I'm going to direct the camera down, see what I'm doing. Right, how to explain to do the next step. Always interesting. Right. So we're going to open up one side. Are you all ready? I hope so. I can't hear you. Maybe ready. So I'm going to open up a flap, and I am now going to pull out this area. I do feel this is a tricky one to explain. All right, how am I going to explain it? I feel as if I do it, but I don't quite know how I do it. That's not very useful, is it, for explaining? Right, actually, maybe the easiest way to say is you're opening it up, and this line, I want you to change it the opposite way around. So at the moment it's kind of going in. I want it to go out the other way. Still feel as if I'm working out how to explain this one. Apologies if I'm a bit rusty there. But basically, it was folded down like that, opening it up, all the way up, and this line changing it the opposite way around. Which I've now forgotten which way around is which. So it was kind of folding inwards. Instead, fold it so it goes outwards. So you're not adding any extra lines. All you're doing is changing the direction of that line so that this sticks out. And then, hopefully, did that make sense? You are welcome to say, no, Lizzie, that was a rubbish explanation. It wasn't really. Still trying to learn how to explain that one. Hopefully you've got that bit sticking out. So I'll just do it one more time. I think there are many ways you could explain this one. So it's lying down like that. And I have opened it all up. And I've changed this so it will stick outwards. Like that, not adding any extra lines. And then lying it down so that this sticks backwards like that. Oh, good. I'm glad it's worked for someone. It's not, as I said, this is not particularly simple, which is quite intriguing because a lot of these traditional designs are not that simple at all. You'd think that they would be very simple in order for it to be passed on. So somebody must have spent a lot of time with others in order for this to be memorized and passed on. So like that. We're going to do the same with the bottom one. So I'm opening this up. And it's this little line. I need to get it to go, not adding any extra lines, I'm just getting it to go the opposite way so it sticks out. There we go. Sticks out like that. Yes, good for you. And then it should then be able to close down. I find this a very interesting shape. It's a good shape, isn't it? You can feel a sort of bird presence. These actually will become the feet. Yeah, it almost feels like it's the wings, but I don't think so. There aren't really wings on this one. There we go. So it's hopefully looking like that sort of shape. Are you all ready for the next step? How's that work for you? I can imagine this could become many things. It's almost a bit like a flower or a tulip, or a little face or something. Great. Oh, good. I'm glad it's worked. Glad it's worked. I try not to be too polished. Yes. That's not deliberately making the effort though, is it? We're going to take one of these little bits which will become a foot. Right. And I'm looking at the diagram because actually the angle is quite an interesting one. Starting from about there up to there. So I'm going to take my piece and it will fall from the base there so it sticks up here. It's not, you see, these kind of ones are not so mathematical. So it's a little bit harder to do, but hey, that's the joy of the animal ones. So that this sticks up a little bit, something like that. But this shouldn't go all the way down to the bottom. So I still feel again on, yes, it does feel a bit like a fish. Yes, you're right, honey. I agree. Maybe something like that. It's quite you have to really play around with this. I think that's also why I find it quite intriguing because it's not that obvious. Amazing to think. I wonder when this originated. I don't know if any of you know more about this. In a way, you never really quite know because it has been handed on from person to person, which is ultimately the way that origami is passed on more than the diagrams. Obviously, diagrams are really valuable and a way of preserving and communicating, but naturally things like stories get transmitted from person to person. They'll change as well from the people who do it. All right, bottom one, the same kind of thing. So taking it so it will stick out a bit for the foot and not going all the way down to the base, but just sort of sticking at that kind of angle. Does look like a funny fish. Fishy fish. It's not. It's a bird. There we go. Something like that. How are you doing? As I said, it's not the easiest, but it makes it fun. Sweet little bird. Right, we're going to do the tail next. Are you ready for the next step? We're going to take this tail and we're going to fold it forward, obviously in a straight line, and there will be a little bit of a gap there. That's what it shows in the picture too. There we go. So fold it forward like so. Back here, folded it forward like so. We're not far off, but we've still got a few steps. Doesn't yet look like a bird, does it? Okay, so next our tail needs to stick out in the right location. We're going to take the tip and I'm going to just turn it around so I can see what I do. I am now going to bring this down and I'm leaving behind a little bit of a tuck. So it's about halfway, that little area, which would be the feet. Yeah. So it's something like that. How's it going for you? Is this making sense? So it was all the way up there and I brought it down and left it about halfway there. That's great. Oh, my fingers crossed for Eric. We're missing you. Where are you? Hope you're well. There we go. And our friend in India too. I hope you're okay too. Yep. So our piece here, happy? It's soon going to start to look like yeah. It's soon going to start to look like a bird now. You've kind of got, we're looking at a squashed underneath of a bird. So we're going to take, yes, that's true. Very true. Right, we're going to take it and we're just going to fold it inwards. And ta-da! It's looking like a bird. Oh, but that's good. Thank you, Penny, for the update. We're all getting concerned, weren't we? Oh, I'm sorry you've got a reaction, Eric, if you do watch afterwards. But very glad that that's the reason. Yeah, people's reactions vary. That means that you're very young, Eric, because it tends to be the people younger who get a reaction. So, how's that worked for you? We haven't quite got a face yet, but it's getting there. Oh, yeah. Thanks for letting us know. We're all getting worried, boys. We were missing you. Okay. So our little bird, wondering if my feet are the same height. So our next step, again, I'm looking at the picture, is to do a little fold for the head. So I'm going to take the top here. At the moment we need a head. Yeah. Well, it's got a lot of well wishes here, hasn't he? Take the top of the bird and fold it down like that. And this will help later on produce a little beak. It's just giving us a line. So I took it and I folded it down there. So, and then opening it up again. So that's the kind of line that you're looking for. Taking that top bit, folded down, it's very thick, I know, but opening it up. Is that good? Yeah, it should be coming together now. But it goes for quite a time when you don't really know what's going to contribute to what. I love that mystery. Yeah, it's not the simplest, is it? And actually, the traditional crane is not a particularly simple thing to do either. It wouldn't be something I'd start with. There we go. So this little area now, we can make it into the head. We've already got a little crease line. So if you kind of pop your finger in and push it inwards, following the lines that you've already made. So you're not adding any extra ones, but just following that. And hopefully you're kind of pushing it inwards. And you've got a nice little face and a little beak there. I love this little mantle. So if you have got different coloured paper, then you'd find that bit of different colour from the rest of it. Oh, thank you, Deborah. Yes, please send best wishes from all of us. Well, who'll watch and go, what? They're just talking about me the whole time. Well, there you go, Eric. You're very much very much the spirit of the group. So hopefully, well, we're almost there. One more step. So this back tail, because that little tuck we did earlier, it means you can slightly flex and move it around. So take the tail and you can change the angle. So you could keep it straight, but actually you might as well make it a little bit more, bring it out a bit. This could also help with balancing too. So I brought mine out a little bit and then squeezed it again when you're happy with the angle. And it may just help it balance that a little bit more, like so. And it's almost a difficult one to photograph. I don't think it shows just how lovely it is. But to me, I think maybe it's its little feet standing in your hand. It just feels very alive. And I found just a very, as I said, the sentiment behind it has really moved me. It is a little piece of magic. It really feels like a little living bird. You might just keep it plain, or you might colour it in. Or it's something you could post, or could just have standing around. And yeah, I can't wait to share with you some things I've been doing. So next week will be, I'm glad it's lovely. It is lovely, isn't it? A lovely bird. So you can probably see a little bit how this is related, but this will be what I'll be showing you next week. I will probably get you started, and I probably won't do the complete thing. So it's a little bit like a project which I'll get you started on. And can you recognise it's basically this area really that's sticking out, and I called it a plumage star. So it's a little bit of fusion or something. It's not quite as strong as the modular star that we may have made before, so you have to be delicate with it, but I quite like that. I think it's balanced and delicate. And yeah, and then the week after that I will explain to you how to make a little bud, and then the week after that to build on the petals. And you can do lots of different colors and layers, and I'm still exploring this and really enjoying it. Cactus flowers, I think, as named from today. So yeah, it is, but it will only be temporary reaction. It's just your body reacting. Oh, noisy family rescue budgie. Oh, that's lovely. I do think of these as budgies after my mum said that. Little tiny budgie. Whoops, it toppled. It's like a dead budgie sketch, isn't it? Yeah. So I hope that's worked for you. And hope your little bird, however big or little it is, will give you a little bit of joy, a feeling that spring is here. Birds are such a symbol of freedom, aren't they? Don't know about you, but I've been listening and looking at them so much. They give such a feeling of joy. So wishing you all very, very well, and I hope that you get better. But I'm glad that that's the reason that you're not feeling well. It will just be your body reacting, and that's all good. It'll keep you protected. So, thank you. You're welcome, Elizabeth. Honey, it's so lovely to have you, and Matt, and Stephen, and Deborah, Penny. So thank you for joining, and glad you enjoyed it, Stephen. It is a lovely model, isn't it? From Japan, from many generations. So look after yourselves, keep safe, keep well, and keep folding. It's always something you can reach to if you're feeling a bit down, you need a little bit of time out, go for the paper. The possibilities are endless and rather exciting. So take care, everyone. See you soon. See you next week. Bye-bye.